So now that you see, the animal soul have a lot to do with it, because those looks that you see in the souls is different layers to these. You have the dog, like I said, the ibis, that represents Cyrus or whatever, and you have the bird and all of them that represent Orion and Pleiades. You know, one is for one and one is for the other. And so Ra has a lot to do with it, because Ra is from Rigel. That's in the Cyrus constellation, but it don't have a lot to do with us. You're talking the story of Enki and Enlil now. So Ra would be equivalent to Murdoch. With him being equivalent to Murdoch, that means that his story is that he's Jehovah. Being that he's Jehovah, he's not the actual ruling body. His story starts when the sun comes into existence. That would be your story of the Creator. The Creator, you know, that a lot of Christians call him the Most High, but it's not the true story. To get the element of what I'm saying, you got to understand our style, so I don't sound like I'm freelancing this and making up my own creed and doctrine. It will fall under Gnosticism. We follow Gnostic faith. Then if you was to classify it, where would it exist today for general understanding? So for general understanding, I reference you to Gnosticism to get the full understanding, because that concept is old. It's the original Typhonian knowledge of our ancient ancestors from Atlantis that preserved everything. The story's quite deep, because they're saying that who we think is actually the hello. I don't want everybody to hear my business. Who we think is the ruling Messiah is not the ruling Messiah. The ruling Messiah is a fraud, and he's not the real one. And that's what we see as Jesus Christ. And the Antichrist is the religion created today. So we're really fighting against, put it like this, religion is really the Antichrist to deceive us. And until we leave it alone, we're not going to be able to wake up to our own Christ consciousness. So let me break it down for you now so that you get a good understanding, because that's not going to be good enough for you to really get up and wake up and get conscious. But this should help you. Well, when the sun got created, this is under the story now of the Bible in the beginning, and you hear that whole story of the luminaries and the creatures. That's what I just explained to you. How the creatures came was the separation from the earth and the sun. So now, but these now, we're looking at what's called the Sephiroth. This is different animations. These are spheres that separated to give life to us. These spheres that separated also became a part of our chakra system, with each separation being like a vortex wormhole that's built inside of our system. Now, that whole system is put together by the Most High. It ain't built by the Creator God. He couldn't stop none of that stuff, and he didn't know about it. It's like an invisible psychic system we have. So now what wound up happening is, once the sun came into being, it created life. This whole life system that we in, and it trapped itself inside this whole universe with its energy and its radiance, and whatever was created in it had it inside of it. So the story goes now that this light came from the darkness, and it individualized itself. It realized that it was itself, and it came to rationalism, and it separated from the darkness, and it individualized. It kept individualizing until it came a solid ball of light, flaming. And that's Jehovah, his story of waking up. But you see, the darkness is not, it was not dark, it was light there. He just couldn't see because he's blind. And that was the light of Cyrus. Cyrus now is the Most High, the real star. So we represent Cyrus. Cyrus is different from Christian religion and everything, because you look at the symbol for Christian religion is the crucifix. It's not what we represent. We represent the cross. The crucifix is a T, the Tor. It's a symbol for something to die on, something to get killed on. It's a curse. You're being hexed if you wear a crucifix with a dead white man on it. We represent an X with the cross. A cross is what it's called because it's in the middle. That's the star of the zodiac. Well, you take the cross and add 2 more vertical lines going across it, and you have a 5-pointed star to represent Cyrus. That's what all occult people, you see the five-pointed star, even Luciferian and other people in different religions, all represent this five-pointed star because that represents Cyrus. Cyrus gives us the energy of life. It's our soul. It gives us our spirit. It's the inner psychicness in us. So that's why we represent it. But what created us did not have no idea of this, but it did. Once it found out that it wasn't alone and it was other gods, because Cyrus called out to it and let it know, yo, you're not the ruling god and there's other gods here. You're not the first. So now that's when it emanated and locked itself in. So we're stuck in this dimension, and so is it. So what wind up happening is we keep on reincarnating. We can't leave here. You see, that's why there's a mystery school, and the Egyptians did the whole initiation to teach people how to leave this area, to leave their body. So you can't die without pulling yourself together and awakening. You can't be mindless and soulless for you to die and to pass death. So this is what they was trying. They wasn't trying. They taught people. It was our rite of passage before we left Lemuria and Atlantis. We lost it as we started mingling with other races, and you started having the first race, the second race, the third race. Once all these started coming about, they started making different peoples, and we're the results of these. Each time it happens, we go lower and lower in consciousness. Going lower and lower in consciousness really just meant you forgot. Yes, cuz. Everything good. Yes, sir. All right. It just means you forgot. It doesn't really mean anything is bad.